You are too nice, and it is costing you everything. Not in a way anyone will tell you about. Not in a way that shows up in a single dramatic moment, in the quietest possible way, in the pattern of how people treat you. In the requests that keep coming, because you have never said no clearly enough to stop them. In the opinions you have swallowed, because keeping the peace felt more important than being honest. In the decisions you have made, not because they were right for you, but because the alternative would have disappointed someone. In the rooms you have stayed in, long past the point where they were good for you, because leaving felt unkind. And here is the thing nobody tells you about being too nice. It does not make people like you more. It makes them respect you less, slowly, without drama, without confrontation. They just start treating you like someone whose needs are optional, whose time is available, whose opinion can be overridden, whose boundaries are suggestions. And you wonder why. Despite doing everything right, despite never saying the wrong thing, despite putting everyone else first, you feel invisible, undervalued, exhausted, like you are giving everything and receiving very little of the thing you actually wanted. Respect today. That changes. Before we go further, I need to say something important. This is not about becoming cold, not about becoming aggressive, not about hardening yourself against the world. The Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, were not cold people. They were warm people. But they were warm from a place of genuine strength, not from the anxious place of someone who needs everyone to be happy with them, not from the fearful place of someone who says yes because no feels too dangerous. From genuine warmth that had a spine in it, that came with standards, that meant something, because it was not given to everyone automatically. That is the specific combination we are building today, warm and strong, kind and clear, present and boundaried, not nice, respected and one stop saying yes when you mean no. This is the first lesson, and it sounds the simplest, and it is the hardest, because the yes that comes from fear, the yes that means, I do not want this, but I am afraid of what happens if I decline, has been practiced so long, in so many small moments, that it no longer feels like a choice. It feels automatic, like the only available response. And every automatic yes, every time you agree to something you did not want, attend something that drains you, take on something that was not yours to carry, sends a message to everyone around you. My boundaries are not real, my limits are negotiable, my no is actually a yes if you push in the right way. Epictetus said, never say you have lost something, say you have given it back, marley that to your time, your energy, your attention. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you are giving away something you did not choose to give. And the giving that is not chosen is not generosity, it is compliance. And people do not respect compliance, they use it. Here is the practice. The next time a request arrives that you do not genuinely want to agree to, pause 3 seconds and say, let me think about that. Not yes immediately. Not no immediately. Let me think about it, actually, and only say yes if you genuinely mean it. That pause, that 3-second pause, is the beginning of every genuine no. And every genuine no is the beginning of real respect. Lesson 2. Stop apologizing for taking up space. You apologize too much, not for real wrongs, for existing, for having needs, for asking questions, for taking time, for occupying space in the conversation, in the room, in the relationship. That is completely and legitimately yours. Sorry to bother you. Sorry for the silly question. Sorry to ask, but sorry. Sorry. And every unnecessary apology, every sorry that was not earned, communicates something specific. I am not sure I deserve to be here. I am not sure my needs are worth your attention. I am pre-apologizing because I expect you might be inconvenienced by me. Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. Stop arguing through the constant unnecessary apology for your own existence. You do not owe anyone an apology for having a question, for taking time, for making a request. for being present in a space you are legitimately part of. The person who apologizes for nothing they should apologize for communicates something completely different. That they belong, that their presence is not an imposition, that the time they take is worth taking. Start with this: "I'm sorry" from the sentences where it does not belong, instead of "sorry to bother you. I have a question." Instead of "sorry, this might be silly. I wanted to ask about this." No apology, just the thing, directly. Watch how differently people respond. Lesson 3. Your silence is more powerful than your agreement. Nice people fill silence with agreement, with affirmation, with the nod and the yes and the of course. That keeps the other person comfortable at the cost of your own honesty. And here is what that constant agreement does. It makes your opinion worthless, not because your opinion is wrong, because it is always available, always agreeable, never costing anything to receive. And things that cost nothing are valued accordingly. But the person who speaks selectively, who does not agree automatically, who pauses before responding, who sometimes says nothing at all, that person's agreement means something because it was not guaranteed. Seneca wrote, "Retire into yourself as much as you can." That retreat into yourself, before speaking, before agreeing, before filling the silence, is where your opinion becomes worth hearing. Here is the practice. The next time someone says something you do not fully agree with, do not immediately affirm it. Let a beat pass, and if you disagree, say so, calmly, specifically, not aggressively. "I see it differently." Or, "I am not sure I agree with that." Or simply, just that, And let the silence work, because the silence of someone who does not automatically agree is one of the most compelling things in any conversation. Lesson 4. Stop explaining your decisions to people who did not ask. Nice people over-explain, because somewhere underneath the explanation is a hope. The hope that if you just explain clearly enough, thoroughly enough, reasonably enough, the other person will understand, and if they understand, they will approve. And if they approve, you can feel okay about your choice. But here is the truth. Your choices do not become more valid because someone else approved of them. They were always valid, or they were not. And another person's approval does not change either of those things. Every time you over-explain, every time you justify yourself to someone who did not ask, you are communicating, "Your opinion of me matters so much that I need to change it before I can feel settled." And the person who receives that communication has just been handed enormous power, not because they earned it, because you gave it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion." Apply that to other people's opinions about your choices. They are allowed to think what they think, and you are allowed, without explanation, without justification, to make the decision that is right for your life. And live it, without the running commentary. Lesson 5. Let people be disappointed. This is the hardest lesson, and the most important, because the avoidance of other people's disappointment is the primary driver of most nice people's behavior. The yes that was not meant, the apology that was not needed, the agreement that was not genuine, the overstayed situation, the unfollowed boundary, all of it, traceable back to one thing: I do not want them to be disappointed. And here is what the Stoics would say about that: you cannot avoid it, not forever, not completely. The moment you start living authentically, the moment you start saying no when you mean no, setting the limit when the limit is needed, making the decision that is right for you, someone will be disappointed, guaranteed. And the question is not whether disappointment will arrive. The question is whether you will be the cause of it, honestly, by living with integrity, or whether you will experience it, secretly, by continuing to live without it. Epictetus said, "Seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are." Let the disappointment arrive in other people, when it is the honest consequence of you living honestly, because the alternative, managing every person's emotional state, adjusting yourself constantly to prevent their disappointment, is not kindness, it is exhaustion. And it costs you something far more valuable than their comfort, your own. Lesson 6. Likeable with trustworthy. Here is the distinction that changes everything. Likeable and trustworthy feel like the same thing from the inside. You want people to feel good around you. You want positive relationships. You want to be seen as someone worth knowing. But they produce completely different results. Likeable means people enjoy being around you. They find you pleasant. They like the warmth and the agreeableness. But they do not necessarily trust your word. They do not necessarily believe your no when you say it. They do not necessarily take your opinion seriously, because they have learned that your opinion is negotiable. Trustworthy means something different. It means when you say yes, you mean yes. When you say no, you mean no. When you express an opinion, it is your actual opinion. When you make a commitment, you keep it. When you say you will not tolerate something, you do not tolerate it. And the person who is trustworthy, even if they are occasionally disagreeable, even if they sometimes disappoint, even if they say no when you hoped for yes, is the person who earns genuine respect. Because you know where you stand with them, and knowing where you stand is one of the most valuable things one person can offer another. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Stop performing likable, build trustworthy, one honest response at a time. Lesson 7. Respect yourself first and watch how everyone else follows. This is the truth that all 6 lessons have been building toward, because here is the reality. How other people treat you is largely a reflection of how you treat yourself, not entirely, not without exception, but largely. The person who consistently says yes when they mean no teaches the people around them that their no is not reliable. The person who over-apologizes teaches the people around them that their presence is an imposition. The person who over-explains teaches the people around them that their choices require external validation. And the person who does none of those things, who says yes when they mean yes, and no when they mean no, who does not apologize for existing, who does not over-explain their decisions, who lets people be disappointed when that is the honest consequence, who is trustworthy rather than just likable, teaches the people around them something completely different. That there are standards here, that this person knows their worth, that this relationship operates on honesty, not performance. And people, almost without exception, rise to meet the standard of someone who has one. Not everyone. Some people will leave when you stop performing niceness for them. Let them leave. Because the ones who stay, the ones who meet the standard, the ones who are still there after the performance stops, are the ones who were always there for the real version of you. And the real version of you, respected, not just liked, is the only version worth building a life around. Seneca wrote, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Stop grieving the approval you were trying to collect by being endlessly agreeable. Start rejoicing in the respect that comes when you finally stop giving people the version of you that needs their approval and start showing them the version that does not. That version is already in you. It has been in you the entire time, under all the unnecessary apologies and the automatic agreements and the explanations nobody asked for and the yeses that meant no. It was always there waiting for you to choose it. Choose it today. If this said something you needed to hear, share it with one person who is exhausting themselves being nice and wondering why it is not working.